Listen, they walk among us, masked in charm, cloaked in smiles that stretch just wide enough to be disarming but never quite reach the eyes. They are not careless, nor are they blind to the chaos they weave. Every word, every pause, every flicker of feigned concern is measured, deliberate. You see, the narcissist does not stumble into cruelty. They step into it with precision. The game begins long before you even realize you are playing. They study you, not out of love, not out of admiration, but out of necessity. Like a predator learning the rhythm of its prey, they take note of your weaknesses, your insecurities, the places where your armor is thin. They gather this knowledge with patience, weaving a story in which they are your savior, your guide, your mirror. They make themselves indispensable, positioning themselves as the architect of your happiness. And then, when you least expect it, they twist the knife. Make no mistake, this is not a reflex. This is not some unconscious flaw of the mind. It is design. A carefully orchestrated manipulation, so intricate that by the time you feel the damage, you question whether you inflicted it upon yourself. That is their masterpiece. Control without resistance. Destruction without a trace. Perhaps you have seen it before, that moment when the mask slips, just for an instant, a flash of amusement in their eyes as you struggle to make sense of the confusion, the contradiction. They push, they pull, they build you up only to tear you down. And when you look at them with hurt in your eyes, when you ask, "Why would you do this?" they smile. A small thing, just the curve of a lip, gone in a breath, but there it is. The answer you wish you didn't see. Because they know. They know when they lie. They know when they twist your words, when they make you doubt your own mind. They know when they push you just to watch you break. They know when they withhold affection, when they dangle their approval just beyond your reach, waiting for you to chase it, like a beggar grasping at scraps. And they know, more than anything, that you want to believe they do not know. It is that belief that keeps you tethered, the hope that if they only understood the pain they caused, they would stop, that if they could just see, truly see, the wreckage they leave behind, they would change. But they do see. They see everything, and they keep going anyway. To believe they are unaware is to grant them absolution. It is to gift them the very thing they seek, power without accountability. There is no remorse, no regret, only the endless pursuit of control. They do not slip up. They do not act in ignorance. The cruelty is the point. And you, in your kindness, in your desperation to find the good in them, become the perfect target. Because you will explain it away. You will tell yourself they are hurting, that they are lost, that they are broken in some way you can fix. But what if they are not broken at all? What if this is exactly who they want to be? You see, there is no fixing what is not damaged. There is no waking someone who does not wish to be awake. A narcissist does not stumble through destruction like a blind man knocking over vases in the dark. They move with intent, with purpose, shattering the things they once claimed to cherish, watching with quiet amusement as you gather the pieces, apologizing for the mess they made. And that, more than the lies, more than the betrayal, more than the wounds they leave behind, is the greatest trick of all. They do not need to raise their voice. They do not need to threaten. No, That would be too crude, too obvious. Their mastery lies in something far more sinister: the quiet orchestration of your downfall, the slow unraveling of your will. They do not break you in a moment of fury. They do it with patience, with precision, with the subtlety of an artist perfecting his craft. It begins so gently, a misplaced word here, a lingering silence there, a look that is just a little too cold, a touch that vanishes when you need it most. You will not notice at first. You will think yourself mistaken, perhaps even foolish for imagining it. After all, they were so kind yesterday, weren't they? They held your hand. They spoke of love. They laughed at your jokes. Surely you are being paranoid. But then it happens again. And again. The warmth you once felt is rationed, measured, given and taken at their whim. You begin to adjust yourself without realizing it. You hesitate before you speak. You weigh every word, every movement, every breath, hoping to avoid the quiet disapproval you cannot quite name. And that is when they know they have won. Because this is not chaos, this is not an accident. They know exactly what they are doing. They take pleasure in control, not the kind that comes with brute force, but the kind that is so absolute, so invisible, that you mistake it for your own free will. They do not need to lock you in a cage when they can convince you that stepping outside it would be your own undoing. They do not need to silence you when they can make you doubt your own voice. And just when you feel yourself slipping, just when the weight of their presence becomes too much to bear, they will offer you a moment of kindness, a small gift, a gentle word, a reminder of the person they pretended to be. It will feel like salvation, like a breath of air after drowning for so long. You will convince yourself that this is who they truly are. That the cruelty was a misunderstanding, a mistake, a flaw they cannot help. But that is the act. They wear innocence like a second skin, slipping into it whenever necessary. They feign confusion when confronted, tilt their head just so, their voice softened by false concern. "Why are you so upset?" they ask, eyes wide with mock bewilderment. "You know I would never hurt you." And there it is, the moment of hesitation, the doubt creeping in. Perhaps you did misunderstand. Perhaps they did not mean it the way it sounded. You hear yourself apologizing before you even realize it, stepping back, smoothing over the conflict as though it were of your own making. And they watch. Oh, how they watch. They revel in the dance, the back and forth, the constant push and pull, because it is not enough to control you. No, they must make you believe that it was never control at all. They must ensure that when you fall to your knees, it feels as though you knelt willingly. That when you break, you do so in such a way that you never even think to blame them. And when the day comes, because it always does, that you finally see the truth, when the fog lifts and the weight of their deception crashes down upon you, they will not panic. They will not beg or plead. No, they will smile, ever so slightly, and ask, "What are you talking about?" They do not fumble. They do not slip. Every word, every pause, every seemingly careless remark is calculated, placed with the precision of a surgeon's blade. They do not simply lie, they craft falsehoods, so intricate, so seamlessly woven into reality, that you will question your own senses before you ever dare question them. And that is the point, isn't it? To distort, to manipulate, to make you doubt what you once knew to be true. A well-placed lie is more than deception. It is control. It is power. And power, to them, is not just desirable. It is a necessity. But the lies are not enough. No, a lie is merely the tool, the instrument. The real art is in the suffering. Because it is not enough to fool you. They must watch you unravel. They must see the weight of their deception settle into your bones. Watch as the realization dawns, as the light in your eyes flickers and dims. That is when they know they have done their work well. You see, pain is not a byproduct. It is not some unfortunate consequence of their actions. It is the goal. The destruction of your confidence, the erosion of your will. That is where they find their pleasure. And they will make you think it is your own doing. They will tell you that you are too sensitive, that you are overreacting, that you twist their words and make monsters out of shadows. And you will believe them, because by the time you realize what they are, it will already be too late. You will have spent years explaining away their cruelty, convincing yourself that they did not mean it, that they were simply misunderstood. You will have bent and twisted yourself into something unrecognizable just to keep the peace, just to keep them satisfied. And even then, they will not be satisfied. They never are. Because contentment does not interest them. Harmony does not sustain them. It is the suffering that feeds them, the pain that energizes them. The destruction they leave in their wake is not incidental. It is essential. It is the proof of their power, the evidence of their control. And when you finally break, when you shatter beneath the weight of their malice, they will not flinch. They will not weep. They will smile, a flicker of amusement in their eyes as you crumble before them. The satisfaction of knowing that they did this to you, that they pulled the strings, that they dictated the rise and fall of your world. They will feign concern, of course, perhaps even offer a hand, a whisper of comfort, a moment of false reassurance, but only so they can watch you reach for it, watch the hope flicker in your chest before they snatch it away again. Because this is not about love, it is not about connection, it is not even about hatred, it is about power, and nothing gives them power quite like your suffering. And so they will continue. They will find new ways to wound, new lies to tell, new realities to construct, and if you finally walk away, if you gather what remains of yourself and leave, they will not mourn. They will not regret. They will simply look for their next victim. They do not lash out blindly. No, there is an art to their cruelty, a precision to the way they wound. They know exactly when to strike, when to let the silence stretch just long enough to make you doubt yourself, when to choose words that cut the deepest. It is never random. It is never without purpose. They wait. They watch you closely, taking note of when you are most vulnerable, most uncertain, most in need of kindness. And then, only then, they press their fingers against the cracks. A slight remark, a subtle shift in tone, a glance that lingers just a second too long, leaving you uneasy but unsure why. They won't scream. They won't rage. Their cruelty is far more refined than that. A single comment, carefully placed, enough to send you spiraling. You always get like this. A sigh, the shake of a head, as if your pain is exhausting to them. You're too sensitive. And there it is, a wound that doesn't bleed, a cut so clean you won't even notice it at first. But you will feel it. You always do. And if you dare to call them out, if you find the courage to say, "That hurt me," they will tilt their head, feigning confusion. They will smile, just a little, as if they are amused by your distress. And then the real game begins. That's not what I said. You're remembering it wrong. I was only joking. You take things too seriously. And so the ground beneath you shifts. Your reality, once solid, turns to sand. The words you heard, the pain you felt. Suddenly, none of it is certain. Perhaps you did misunderstand. Perhaps you are overreacting. That's what they want after all. Not just to control the situation, but to control your mind, your memories, the very way you perceive the world. They will not yell, will not argue. No, they will stay calm, composed, their voice low and measured, forcing you to feel irrational in comparison. They will paint themselves as the reasonable one, the patient one, the victim of your unwarranted accusations. And when you finally break, when frustration and confusion spill over and you raise your voice, they will lean back and shake their head, saying, "See, this is what I mean. You're impossible to talk to." And just like that, the roles have shifted. The one who inflicted the wound is now the one demanding an apology. The one who suffered is now the one on trial. And you, exhausted and desperate to restore the peace, will find yourself saying the words you never should have to say, "I'm sorry." And they will let you. They will accept your apology with a nod, with a graciousness that makes you feel grateful that they are willing to forgive you at all. And just like that, they have won. Because that's the way it always goes, doesn't it? The pain is never theirs to own. The fault is never theirs to bear. Every slight, every wound, every manipulation, somehow in the end, it always comes back to you. And they walk away, unscathed, untouched, ready to do it all over again. They do not wake up one morning and decide to be different. They do not stand before a mirror, tracing the lines of their own face, wondering where it all went wrong. No, they do not see anything wrong at all. There is no guilt, no torment, no battle within. They move through the world as they always have, untouched by doubt, unburdened by regret. You think that if they could only see the damage they cause, they would change. That if they truly understood, truly grasped the weight of their cruelty, they would stop. But that is the illusion, the lie you tell yourself to make sense of their existence. Because the truth is simpler, far colder. They do not seek change because, in their eyes, there is nothing to change. The problem, you see, is not them. It has never been them. It is you. It is the world. It is the people who misunderstand them, the fools who are too sensitive, the weak ones who can't handle the truth. It is always someone else. And that is why they do what they do, why they continue their games with such ease. They do not falter, they do not hesitate. Every word, every action, every betrayal is done with intent. They do not wound carelessly, and they do not deceive by accident. They know. They have always known. That is the great deception, isn't it? The act of innocence, the feigned confusion when you call them out, the carefully placed mask of bewilderment as they ask, "What are you talking about?" You want to believe that they don't know, that they lash out because they are hurting, that they manipulate because they are lost. Because if they don't know, then maybe they can learn, maybe they can be saved. But that, of course, is the greatest lie of all, because they do know. They know when they twist the truth. They know when they push you too far, only to pull you back with just enough sweetness to keep you from walking away. They know when they smile at you after cutting you down, when they pretend they never meant to hurt you, when they shift the blame with such effortless grace that you find yourself apologizing for wounds they inflicted. And the worst part? They know that you want to believe they don't know. They count on it, because as long as you believe they are lost, you will try to guide them. As long as you believe they are broken, you will try to fix them. And as long as you believe they don't know what they are doing, you will stay. That is the real trick. The thing that keeps you coming back. The whispered hope that maybe, just maybe, if you love them enough, if you explain it enough, if you endure just a little more, they will finally understand. But they understand, they always have, and they are exactly who they want to be. You search for meaning in their cruelty, for some hidden wound that might explain why they are the way they are. You tell yourself that if they only knew, if they could only see the damage they cause, they would stop. But they do know. They see it all, and they continue anyway. There is no salvation to offer them, no words that will open their eyes, no love strong enough to shift the foundation of who they are. They do not change because they do not want to change. They do not seek redemption because, in their mind, there is nothing to redeem. They thrive in the chaos they create, feeding on the suffering. And that is the hardest truth of all. You are not bound to them. Their power over you exists only as long as you let them shape your reality, only as long as you continue to believe the lies they weave so effortlessly. The moment you see them for what they truly are, the moment you stop searching for the person you wish they could be, is the moment they lose. Because the greatest trick they ever played was making you believe they didn't know what they were doing. And the greatest power you will ever have is seeing through the illusion and walking away.